Knowing that Shen Keran had been entangled with her bamboo horse for more than 10 years, I still plunged in without hesitation. Until the day of the engagement, Shen Keran received a phone call. Her bamboo horse fainted in the hospital, and she left me directly. Grandma sat below and saw this scene and quickly caught up. Unexpectedly, she was hit by a car and sent to the hospital without rescue. I'm completely dead. It's not mine. I shouldn't have forced it. 1. Shen Keran is my leader. She and I are actually people from two worlds just because her bamboo horse had a car accident and needed a blood transfusion, and I happened to match so I caught her eye. That time I saved Chen Baiyu. Shen Keran looked at me and smiled gently at me for the first time. She asked me what my wish was. I said I wanted to fall in love with her. At that time, after the blood transfusion, I was dizzy and subconsciously spoke my heart to that face. Shen Keran was silent for a few seconds, and then promised me that this conversation would last for 3 years. This year the Shen family urged to get married, and Shen Keran didn't want to be taught by them, so she got engaged to me. I know this is a passing scene. I didn't expect that Chen Baiyu fainted at this junction. I pulled Shen Keran and said, "Don't go. There is a doctor in the hospital. You are absent from our engagement banquet. What should I do?" "Sujiha, don't be so selfish. Being engaged to me is a blessing you have cultivated in your last life. Don't ask for anything else." She threw me away and ran out, and Grandma quickly chased after me. Ran. "Please, let's leave after the ceremony with him." I was stunned for a moment, and the next second I heard a scream from outside. I hit someone to death. When I rushed out, Shen Keran's car had already gone far away. Grandma was lying in a pool of blood, surrounded by people. At that moment, I really broke down and couldn't hear anything in my ears. I could only see my grandmother motionless until the ambulance came, and I was pushed into the car to the hospital. "Cornings to the patient, we have tried our best." The doctor's words echoed in my ear. I sat in the corridor, holding the death certificate in my hand, and I was dumbfounded. I didn't come to my senses until a harsh bell came. It was Shen Keran. She strongly ordered me, "Sujiha, where are you? Come to the hospital now. Baiyu needs your blood transfusion." I was angry and refused directly. "You lose your mother. Shen Keran, I'm done with you. Don't come to me in the future." The other end of the phone suddenly choked and then said coldly, "Sujiha, you have a good temper. Isn't it an engagement? Baiyu is dying. Then let him die." I was sick all day long, wasting food and land when I died. I hung up the phone directly and then went to the police station. Grandma was hit, and the perpetrator's family contacted me for forgiveness, but I didn't agree. The culprits are Shen Keran and Chen Baiyu. How did I get involved with her at the beginning? Knowing that she has been in a relationship with Chen Baiyu for more than 10 years, she still wants to give up, and now she is eating the consequences. "Grandma, I'm sorry, I really regret it." I got up and collected. Good death certificate. Now I have to deal with the aftermath for Grandma, who knew that Shen Keran came with a bodyguard in front of her. "Sujiha, stop him for me." I turned my head and ran away. I called the police while running. No matter how rich Shen Keran was, she could not be superior to the law. I just don't have a blood transfusion. What can she do to me? It's not panda blood. And I'm not the only panda blood in the world. "Shen Keran, I want to see if your bamboo horse can survive without me." But before I could leave the hospital gate, I was thrown to the ground. The bodyguard caught up and pressed me to the ground. "Where are you going, son of a bitch? It's your honor to donate blood to Chen Shao, and you don't know how to raise it." I couldn't struggle, so I could only say angrily, "I don't want to. You can't ignore the law. Let go of me." "Shen Keran, you are breaking the law." 2. Shen Keran came from behind and stepped on high heels to come to me. "Sujiha, what are you doing? It's not the first time. What's the pretentious?" She waved her hand, and the bodyguard took me to the ward. I was pressed and couldn't move, watching the bright red blood being pulled out. In the hospital bed next door, Chen Baiyu looked at my pale face and said, "I'm so sorry to bother you again." I bit my lip tightly and then turned my head. "This is the last time. I won't let you succeed again." "Shen Keran, we're done." Shen Keran was unhappy. "What are you doing? It is better to save a life than to make a 7-level floating slaughter. If you save him, I won't treat you unfairly." I sneered. "It's a bad treatment? Shen Keran, what do you think of you? You can't be blasphemous." I said, "I'm done with you. Don't come to me again." I took a deep breath and only felt that my heart hurt to the extreme. Grandma's aftermaths have not been dealt with yet. I really regret that I don't want to have sex with her again in my life. After the blood transfusion, my head was dizzy. Just as I was about to close my eyes, there was a sound of footsteps outside. "Who called the police?" I immediately raised my voice and said, It's me. Shen Keran looked incredulously. Sujiha, you really called the police? And I slowly got up and looked at the police. They forced me to have a blood transfusion, and these doctors pretended to be my signature without my consent. I demanded to hold them accountable. Grandma is gone, and she is still lying in the morgue. These people are all accomplices, and I won't let any of them go. Shen Keran's face suddenly looked ugly. It's just that the rich man has a good means, but she came out in just an hour. It's just that his face is still ugly. She was warned inside, signed an agreement, and wrote me a letter of apology. I hold it in my hand, which is also my life-saving charm. If she dares to come again, I don't mind letting her become an internet celebrity. Out of the police station, Shen Keran's face turned pale. She looked at me and said fiercely, Sujiha, you have grown into your ability. I don't think so. Shen Keran, let me remind you that you just have a little money. This time is just a lesson. Next time. No, there is no next time between you and me. Shen Keran shouted angrily. Sujiha, don't regret it. What are you kidding? Can I regret it? Meeting Shen Keran is the most regretful thing in my life. If time could be turned back, I would never have anything to do with her again. Back to the hospital, all the medical staff who had forced me to transfuse blood before were dealt with. The dean apologized to me and begged for forgiveness. I didn't say anything but took away all the records of my blood transfusion in the past few years. In addition, I also saw Chen Baiyu's blood type, which is indeed a rare blood type. It's just that his physical examination report is much healthier than I thought. I took a picture while they were not paying attention, and then went to deal with Grandma's affairs. I buried her ashes in a suburban cemetery. I won't go back until it's all finished. I have my own rental house in Shancheng. At that time I packed up my clothes and moved in because of my engagement. Now everything is calm, and I also want to return to normal life. As soon as I finished cooking everything, I lay down and saw dozens of text messages in my mobile phone, all of which were sent by Shen Keran. Sujiha, are you serious? Come back right away and I'll forgive you. What are you pretending to be? Don't you just want to see me bow my head? I've already apologized. What else do you want? It's not just a few tubes of blood. What do you care about? 3. Seeing these, I smiled bitterly and saved all the screenshots, hoping to use them one day and blacklist her casually. If you don't think about it, Shen Keran won't give up. The next day, I saw her at the door of my house, followed by Chen Baiyu. What are you doing here? Baiyu said thank you, so I brought him here. Sujiha, don't care. At this point she can still say this. I sneered. What's the matter? Do I have to knock him? Shen Keran, don't you care about the law? Get out of here or I'll call the police. Shen Keran was angry. Sujiha. At this time Chen Baiyu said, Sujiha, don't be angry. I know you are unhappy because of the engagement. It's also my fault. It's all my fault. My health is really... Anyway, if you are angry, just hit me. Chen Baiyu still had a trace of pride and provocation in his eyes when he spoke. I looked at him and thought of all the things before, and punched him without hesitation. Sujiha, you must be crazy. Shen Keran rushed over and pushed me aside, and quickly helped Chen Baiyu up. Why, it's not what he said. Let me hit him. Now you're heartbroken. Get out of here. I pointed in the direction of the door and asked her to get out. Shen Keran raised her hand and slapped me fiercely. Have you had enough trouble? What on earth are we going to do? Does your grandma know that you are such a bastard? I want to ask her how on earth she taught you. A sharp pain struck me in my heart, and I almost couldn't breathe. You still have the face to mention her. My grandmother has passed away on the day of our engagement. Shen Keran, if you want to see her old man, go to hell. I pulled Shen Keran to push her out. Shen Keran was angry. Sujiha, even if you hate me, you don't have to curse your grandmother. I can see a person like you. Ignore him. Let's go. Shen Keran left with Chen Baiyu. I looked at their backs and clenched my fists. Because my grandmother just passed away, how dare they expose my scars? This pair of scumbags and bitches will definitely be retributioned. Wait, I won't let it go. I made an appointment with a few friends. When I heard me talk about my grandmother, they were immediately indignant. Sujiha, why didn't you say it earlier? I smiled bitterly. I was forced to have a blood transfusion, and she could retreat with her whole body. If we are not fully sure, we can't take action rashly. Also, I'm really tired. After 3 years of love, I buried my own happiness and my grandmother's life. If it weren't for me, Grandma wouldn't have left. My friend patted me on the shoulder. As long as you open your mouth, we will definitely help you. Sujiha. Shen Keran is not a talker in the Shen family. She is so young that she just comes out to practice. Let's think about it carefully. I nodded and discussed countermeasures with my friends. I know Shen Keran and she will not give up easily. After all, I am still a blood bag, and she will not let me go. After Shen Keran came out, Chan Baiyu swore. Karen, why don't I talk to him again? No need. Don't pay attention to him. She was a little anxious. These days she really didn't see her grandmother. Su Jiha should not lie. At this time the hospital called. Is this Zhang Yuanying's family? Zhang Yuanying's relics are left in the emergency room. When is it convenient to pick them up? Shen Keran's mind was booming and she was stunned. What did you say? Relics? Yes, Zhang Yuanying died in a car accident on July 6th. Are you her family member? 4. Shen Keran didn't know how he answered. He just looked up and Shen Baiyu became nervous. Keran? Let's go back. I'm not feeling well. Shen Keran nodded, withdrew her gaze and turned away with him. After I separated from my friends, I went back to make a PPT overnight, which was full of blood transfusion records over the past few years and the reason why I was with Shen Keran. In the past 3 days, I have also contacted Shen Keran's customers. It doesn't matter if I say anything, but Shen Keran has had problems with several recent projects. She didn't say it secretly, but wanted to make up for it after starting. I tried my best to pick out all the weaknesses of those projects. The customer didn't believe it at first. After I analyzed it, they were silent and said they would consider it. Once the seeds of doubt are planted, I don't need to do it later. Naturally, someone will do it. It has been 3 days since I finished all this. I basically didn't sleep much these days. On the 4th day, as soon as I opened the door, I saw Shen Keran standing at the door. Her face was pale. I was not angry. Just as I was about to speak, my eyes went black and I fainted. When I woke up again, I saw Shen Keran sitting next to me. Her eyes were scarlet. When she saw that I woke up, she rushed over and reached out to probe my head. It's okay. The fever has finally subsided. As soon as I was about to speak, I felt a terrible sore throat. I turned my head and looked at the water on the bedside table. Shen Keran reacted and quickly brought me water, but accidentally spilled it on me. I sighed. I'm so sorry. She quickly apologized to me. I shook my head and didn't say anything. I pushed her away and took a sip of water. In the past, I always took care of Shen Keran. She didn't take care of me. I, a patient, was an iron-beating King Kong in her eyes. When I was sick before, Shen Keran took my hand. Just as my feet were about to speak, Chan Baiyu called me away a second later. That time, I had a fever of 40 degrees and pain all over my body. I wanted her to stay with me, but she said, "Don't be so pretentious. Take some antipyretics." If Grandma hadn't come to see me and called an ambulance for me that time, I'm afraid no one would have known that I really died at home. Now seeing her in a hurry, I drank my saliva and moistened my throat and said coldly, "Why are you here?" Only then did Shen Keran realize and said in a low voice, "I'm sorry, I didn't know about Grandma. You don't have to say that you caused my grandmother's death. I don't want to see you again in my life." Shen Keran was anxious. "How can you forgive me?" "I will definitely do it." Seeing her like this, I sneered. "Do you want to atone for your sins? Well, how much blood I have given to Chan Baiyu, you ask him to return the blood to me first, and then you publicly admit that I will forgive you for what happened to Chan Baiyu." Hearing this, she stood up and said, "Chan Baiyu and I are just ordinary friends. Why do you think of me so much? Can't do it? Just don't come here." Shen Keran stood in place and bit her lips tightly. She knew that I could do what I said, and I had to count her grandmother's death on her head anyway, and it was impossible to forgive them at all. I lay down and waved her hand to let her leave. Shen Keran stood for a long time, but I ignored her. She had no choice but to leave. At this time, a noise came from the mobile phone, which was sent by Chan Baiyu. "Su Jiha, is the bitter meat trick fun? How old are you to play this trick?" I didn't hesitate to send him a picture of Shen Keran's back. "I can't help it. She can't forget me. I broke up with her. I made it clear at the police station that day, but she just didn't want to let go. What should I do?" "Shen Baiyu, how do you want to make a fuss this time? Pretend to be sick or pretend to commit suicide?" Chan Baiyu was suddenly angry and sent me a 3-minute voice message. I didn't even click it, and I knew it was not a good word. Not long after, I saw him in the ward. Seeing him chasing out, I couldn't help raising my eyebrows. "I'm feeling better. Won't you be hospitalized?" His face was full of resentment. "Su Jiha, you must be very proud. Keran actually said that he wanted to be completely separated from me. On the day of engagement, she asked me to give a blood transfusion to the bamboo horse 39,103. 5. I shrugged my shoulders. "Really? That's a pity. I thought she was true love for you. But I didn't expect that she was abandoned." Hearing the words, his face suddenly turned green. "Su Jiha, wait." I shrugged my shoulders and said, "It doesn't matter. You are in the hospital all day. Do you think the Shen family will be happy to see you like this? If the matter is exposed, will the Shen family kill you? Oh, by the way, I forgot that I still have the record of the last time I called the police. If you want to be an internet celebrity, I will complete you. Chen Baiyu's face suddenly turned green. He and Shen Keran were indeed childhood sweethearts, but the Chen family fell, and later he went to the country. As for what kind of life they spent abroad, I don't know, but after coming back, I don't know how to rekindle Shen Keran's old relationship with him. The latter is for him to do everything. Shen Keran is not a fool. Chen Baiyu has some ability to let her do this, but Chen Baiyu can never succeed with her. She can get engaged to me and she didn't choose Chen Baiyu. It can be seen that the Shen family will never accept Chen Baiyu. I said so to stimulate him. Chen Baiyu's face was gloomy. Sujiha, Shen Keran is mine, you wait. I rolled my eyes and he turned his head and left in anger. And I also wanted to wait to see what kind of ability he had. I don't know what Shen Keran thought. After scolding her that day, she didn't come back for a long time. And after my fever subsided, I took some medicine before I went home. For 7 consecutive days, Shen Keran didn't show up. I thought they had completely stopped, but I didn't want to. Chen Baiyu magnified his move. He posted a photo on the Weibo platform. Under the dim light, he held a woman with a naked back. The atmosphere was ambiguous and the movements were seductive. Even if I didn't show my face, I still recognized that the ring on the woman's finger was the ring on the day of our engagement. Shen Keran is really with him. Chen Baiyu also said, a childhood sweetheart, more than 10 years of entanglement, has been completed at this moment. One stone stirs up 1,000 waves. There are many netizens with the same sharp eyes as me, and they soon recognized that this was Shen Keran. For a moment, netizens were buzzing. I remember that Shen Keran was already engaged, but the engagement partner is not you, is it? It seems that the surname is Su, right? It turned out to be an employee of our company. Later, she got into the eye of the eldest lady and got engaged. Why did she still take such a photo? What the hell is this? Shen Keran and Chen Baiyu are childhood sweethearts. Sure enough, they are still invincible. Isn't that still Xiao San? He's engaged, and he's still not satisfied. This is a proper Xiao San. Some netizens even found out the news of my grandmother's death that day. Poor Su Jiha, the engagement has become an orphan. If I were him, I wouldn't have let this dog man and woman go. So that's it. It's so strange and the face is open. The spread on the internet is too fast, and the Shen company has fallen steeply, falling again and again. Without me to take action, Chen Baiyu became a thorn in their side. Shen Keran was so anxious that she was photographed with a haggard face in less than 2 days and was surrounded by shareholders. When the wall fell and everyone pushed, Shen Keran probably didn't expect that Chen Baiyu actually released the photo without consulting with her. Even she herself didn't know under what state it was taken. Once upon a time when I was with Shen Keran, let alone taking photos, even if it was just took aback, Chen Baiyu immediately got sick. The explanation to me was that he couldn't see our mating, otherwise he would get sick. I don't know why a big man is so tall and weak. Later I realized that he was pretending. Because when I can't see it, he always provokes me, and even says that he is not sick and pretends to be sick. It's true that he has panda blood, but his body is not as weak as we see, but he can always make Shen Keran believe that he is just weak and can't take care of himself. I once joked with Shen Keran that Chen Baiyu fell down with a push like this, and he couldn't get better in his life. Shen Keran was furious when he heard the words, saying that I cursed him and said that I was wrong. I only feel speechless. In Shen Keran's place, Chen Baiyu is a weak young master in the family, and anyone can bully him. As for what Chen Baiyu is like behind him, Shen Keran turned a blind eye. I said too much, but she didn't believe it at all. She even sympathized with his family and persuaded me to let go of the past and be more lenient. He also said that if it hadn't been for Chen Baiyu, I wouldn't have climbed the big tree of the Shen family. Indeed, I admit it, but after 3 years of entanglement I was completely dead. At this time I packed up and planned to go to the company. I just resigned and I could find a new job by myself later. Now I'm still in Shen's company. Now that we are completely separated, I don't want to have any contact with her. When I arrived at the company, I saw Shen Keran in the distance. She was talking on the phone in the hall. Mr. Su, there is no problem with our company. As long as you wait for another 2 days, it will be fine. Mr. Su. She didn't know what was said on the other end of the phone. Shen Keran's face was pale and angry. When she saw me, she hung up the phone and greeted me immediately. Why are you here? Let's go up and talk. I know that you still have me in your heart, Su Jiha. Now the company is in danger. You will definitely help me. Her eyes were full of expectation and I shook my head. Mr. Shen, how can I do? I'm here to resign. Before I came, I had packed the PPT and sent it out. Now Shen Keran probably doesn't know that she has no choice. Due to the lack of liquidity and the collapse of personal image, Shen Keran has no way to go. Shen Keran was shocked. Resignation? Sujiha, what are you kidding? I looked at her and said bluntly, I'm not kidding, Mr. Shen, please give way. Shen Keran looked at me in disbelief. You hate me so much? I didn't say anything. Shen Keran dragged me into the elevator. Sujiha, now you are the only one who can help me. Can you help me clarify? I really have nothing to do with him. I couldn't understand what she said. Mr. Shen, please respect yourself. I said at the beginning that I won't have any more entanglement with you, so you and I have nothing to do with each other. Hearing the words, Shen Keran suddenly became anxious and grabbed my hand. Nothing happened to me and him. That day, he said that my ring was very beautiful and wanted to borrow it for reference customization. I lent it to him without taking precautions. I didn't expect that he found a stand-in. He made me so miserable. Only you can help me. I will marry you, and I will be good to you in the future. She said so sincerely that I was almost moved, but unfortunately, everything was too late. I still refused. I'm sorry, Mr. Shen, I'm not a part of your play. You and Chun Baiyu are childhood sweethearts. It's not better now. At least, no one objects to you being together. You gave him endless longing, and you gave him the courage, so he dared to do so. Every time I say something, Shen Keran's face turns white. Shen Keran, we have been together for 3 years. In these 3 years you have countless possibilities to officially announce with me, but you haven't. You have done everything that couples can do with him under the banner of friends. For the sake of his repeatedly belittling me, you asked the whole company, everyone's eyes are bright. I don't want to say anything more. Everything is your own fault. What's more, there is still a human life between you and me. 7. The elevator just opened. I shook her off and went directly to the personnel department to submit the resignation report. Originally, I asked for so many days off and I didn't want to do it anymore. Now I have submitted my resignation report. In addition, the company is in crisis now, and I am not the only one who left. The personnel department quickly signed and approved, but when it came to Shen Keran, she stopped. I knew she did it on purpose, but she just left the company. I only informed her that she couldn't let her go. I had nothing to hand over. After packing up my personal belongings, I turned around and left. She even emptied everything in my company. Seeing me like this, Shen Keran forced me into her office. Sujiha, do you have to resign at this time? I took a deep breath and looked at her with a smile. Don't force me. In fact, you and I know it very well. You are pulling me now, but you just want me to be your shield. Shen Keran, everyone, let's get together. At worst, you officially announced it. Anyway, you and Chun Baiyu are already like this. Why? Shen Keran is not calm. Can't you stand firmly on my side? I've already said that I won't want his. Why don't you believe it? I turned my head to look at her and sneered. Have you ever stood firmly on my side? As soon as she said this, her face suddenly had no blood. No matter how ugly her face was, I left directly. There was a thud behind me. I turned my head and saw Shen Keran falling to the ground with a pale face. I smiled and said, Shen Keran. She looked up at me and her eyes lit up. I shook my mobile phone and said, I left a gift for you. Remember to check it. Shen Keran was stunned. After I left, she suddenly screamed hysterically. I snorted coldly, this is retribution. Shen Keran was suspended, and the official issued an apology statement, stating that all this was Shen Keran's personal problem, and had nothing to do with the company. When I saw all this, I knew that Shen Keran had been abandoned by the Shen family. Chun Baiyu, the culprit, was severely punished by the Shen family. This time he was really weak and couldn't get up. When I heard the news, I was visiting my grandmother in front of the cemetery. I don't know when Shen Keran came over. After not seeing each other for a while, she lost a circle of weight. Compared with the bright and beautiful girl in front of her, she was almost different. I looked at her for a long time before I recognized her. Shen Keran looked at me with a wry smile. I've been retributioned. This time, I just want to hear you say that you really hate me, and really don't miss me at all. It has been impossible for me and her for a long time. Since my grandmother left, my last thoughts about Shen Keran have not existed. At this time there will be no more involvement with her. Seeing that my eyes were cold and alienated, Shen Keran staggered 2 steps and looked at me. She had no choice but to take off the ring in her hand and give it to me. I took a look and threw the ring on the side of the road after thinking about it. Shen Keran's body shook and finally couldn't help crying. Just as I was leaving, she pulled the corner of my clothes and pleaded, Sujiha, if I get married, will you come to steal the wedding? I thought it was ridiculous. No, I'm not that cheap. I left this sentence and I went away. I don't know why she said that, but the answer soon came. In order to calm the public's anger, the Shen family only said that the engagement with me had been terminated long ago, and the marriage date of Shen Keran and Shen Keran had been confirmed. The two took wedding photos together and publicly showed their love on the official Weibo. It even broadcast Shen Keran's marriage proposal scene 24 hours a day on the big screen of the bustling road. It is difficult for them to come up with countermeasures so quickly, which makes everyone admire Shen Keran's romance and care. Shen Keran also proudly sent me an electronic invitation. Sujiha, I got married and I won this game. 8. I smiled and said, then I wish you grow old, be optimistic about her, and don't go my way. I didn't go on his wedding day, but my former colleagues went there. It is said that the Shen family asked all employees to attend and witness their great love together. This is also a kind of crisis public relations handling. On that day, many media reporters went to live broadcast the whole process and took a picture of Shen Keran's smiling face. Some netizens commented under the video, Shen Keran, if you are kidnapped, blink or change to Sujiha's avatar. As a result, Shen Keran really changed. I'm speechless. This woman has so many dramas. I really wish they can get along well for 100 years and never come to me again in the future. Unfortunately, they just don't want to. Shen Keran changed her avatar, which made the Shen family's newly rising stock fall again. Only 3 days after their marriage, some people exposed that Shen Keran was a male model abroad, and even took an indecent video of being a rich woman. Links keep coming from the mobile phone, all of which are the large-scale videos of Shen Keran's overseas party. Seeing all this, I couldn't help but smile. Fortunately, my friend helped me find his black material so quickly. These are my big gifts to them. Why do you step on me to the top? And cancel the engagement? My PPT is not enough to beat them to death, so let these become their talisman. Netizens were stunned when they saw this scene. They didn't expect that there was a follow-up to this matter. I really thought they were true love. You can perform affectionately to people you don't love, Shen Keran, you can have a snack. It's just a pair of scumbags and bitches, don't say anyone. I thought I had found my true love, but in fact I found a universal plug. I have to say that this kid is really good. Ordinary people really dare not go out like him. It's just Shen Keran. He is the son-in-law of the Shen family, which is already higher than many people. What a son-in-law, everyone knows that Shen Keran has been kicked out of the Shen family. I was a little surprised that Shen Keran had some shares in her hand. Even if she was kicked out, she would not have money to spend. It's just that I can share almost 200,000 to 300,000 yuan, which is no different from ordinary migrant workers, not to mention that it will never be possible to enter the company again. She is so young and has such a stigma. What else can she do but be a rice worm? However, I am curious about what else Shen Keran can be dug up. I wanted to stay away from them, but I didn't expect that Shen Keran's scandal once again took me out as a toolman. Looking at the overwhelming word Sujiha on the screen, and even receiving hundreds of condolence text messages on my mobile phone, I couldn't help sighing. I had no choice but to change my mobile phone number and go to my grandmother's old house to live in. It became more and more popular on the internet. Shen Keran and Shen Keran were also photographed arguing and even fighting on the roadside. I frowned. Shen Keran also has a side of splashing and rolling. What about her scenery? Married to Shen Keran, I'm tired of looking at him. But it has nothing to do with me. I redecorated my grandmother's old house and took a video of the whole decoration process to become a blogger. There are many friends on the internet who like decoration, and have also given me a lot of suggestions. When I learned that I was Sujiha, they all called me well. It's still Sujiha who is smart and stays away from those troubles. Stay away from strife and retreat bravely, but if it were me, I wouldn't want a woman like Shen Keran. The Shen family asked for them to make up for them, saying that those two had a deep friendship, but I knew that Shen Keran was simply a junior. Poor blogger wasted 3 years, but now it's Jitai. 9. I would like to thank all the netizens for their support. After half a year, the small house was finally decorated, and I have become an emerging blogger with hundreds of thousands of fans. Open another track and you can also support yourself with the money to shoot videos. I just didn't expect that I hadn't seen Shen Keran for a long time, but I saw her again half a year later. I rented out the cottage as a homestay, but I welcomed an unexpected guest that day. It was raining heavily. I looked at the gloomy rain outside and sighed. There must not be many guests today. At this moment, a figure broke in and I hurried to greet him. Welcome, are you staying? When I looked up, I was shocked that it was Shen Keran. She lost a circle of weight, her hair was cut short, and there was an extra scar on her face. When she saw me, Shen Keran's eyes turned red. Sujiha, I finally found you. Why are you here? I'm not a shelter here. You've come to the wrong place. My face was full of indifference. Shen Keran shook her head in a damp, no. It's not. Seeing her like this, she was soaked all over and it was raining outside. She was shivering with cold. I still couldn't bear to let her in and served her another bowl of noodles. Shen Keran finished eating quickly. She looked at me with expectation on her face. Can I stay here to work for you? You can't. I don't know what happened to her, but I haven't forgotten my original vow. I will never die with them in my life. Now it has fallen into this form, which is also unexpected to me. You can leave after eating noodles. I won't do your business. Shen Keran immediately stood up. Do you hate me so much? I don't hate you, but I don't love you either. You were with me to protect Shen Baiyu. From the beginning, the purpose was not so willing, but I really liked you at that time. But in those 3 years, everything you did to me let me know that you were not the wife I wanted. And Grandma's death, I can't forgive you in my life. At this time, a man came in from outside. Su Jiha. The girl rushed over and rushed into my arms, hugged me tightly, and looked at me with her head held high. How about it? Do you miss me? He rubbed her head and said, I miss you. Hurry up and dry your hair. Your room is still on the 2nd floor. Go take a shower. I patted her, and the girl jumped on the ground. Shen Keran was shocked when she saw her. Have you made a girlfriend? I shrugged my shoulders and said, Who stipulated that I would wait for you in the same place? Go away. Now that you are married, cherish him. No, Chunbaiyu and I have divorced. I just want to be with you as long as you. I interrupted her. There is no if or hypothesis, let alone my future with you. Please leave. I didn't hesitate to invite her out. Shen Keran looked at me for a long time and smiled bitterly. I'm stupid. I'm wrong to mistake the fish eyes for pearls. She muttered to herself, turned her head and staggered out. After a while, a voice came from behind her. Why haven't you seen enough? Then go after it. I couldn't help laughing. Little girl, what do you know? Che, I'm not young anymore. My father asked you to go back for dinner. Coco is the daughter of our former neighbor. She is only 18 years old this year. I regard her as my sister. She always comes to help me from time to time. Now after seeing Shen Keran, she couldn't help curling her lips. So she is your former friend. It's really not good. I laughed and nodded. It's really not good. Later, Shen Keran never came again, and I received a call from Chunbaiyu. Opposite was the doctor, who knew that I was a panda blood. He said that Chunbaiyu had a car accident and urgently needed blood, and asked me to donate blood to him. I laughed and hung up directly. Chunbaiyu is really so powerful that he can still find my new number. But I don't want to. Only by letting him die can he relieve my heart. Hatred. I'm not a saint. He indirectly killed my grandmother. How can I save him? Later, I didn't know until I saw the news that Chunbaiyu died of excessive blood loss. In addition to me, the hospital also contacted 3 other enthusiastic people, but Chunbaiyu did not wait. I don't know if he is lying in the hospital bed. Has he ever thought that he once forced me away because of his selfishness, and now he will regret giving up his life? I breathed a sigh of relief and lived in the cottage, leisurely and free. The breeze blew, and the wind chimes at the door heard a pleasant sound. The people waiting for us should have arrived. Full text finished.